Cingari here with Keith Smetana, who joins me all the way from West Virginia tonight. Keith has a big fight coming up at Prestige FC2 on March 12th against Devon Smith. Keith, how are you tonight?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I know it's getting close to fight time.
Yes, it is. But anytime I can talk to somebody, I'll take the time.
Okay. So let's start right at the top. How is training camp coming along for you?
Training camp is going great. I feel great. I'm doing a lot of things to challenge myself athletically and physically to keep training interesting. Some of the things I'm doing is working on my horizontal and vertical leap, things like that, working on my grip strength, things that are keeping it interesting. You get kind of bored trying to, just lift the weights doing the same thing. So I'm just trying to keep it interesting and keep it fresh and make myself a much better athlete as well as a fighter.
Yeah, well, judging from that video, we see that you're doing some intense training. I wanted to ask you an important question. Your opponent has a 3-inch height advantage over you. How does that factor into the fight for you then?
I don't think it's going to be much of a factor at all. He may be taller than me, but I don't think he has a longer reach than me.
Okay.
I have an abnormal reach for my height. The fact that I can fight both ways, orthodox and southpaw, I think is going to give me a huge advantage. That way, in any position, I'll be able to reach out and touch him.
You're also the more experienced fighter. How does that factor into the fight for you as well?
Oh, it's huge. You can't take away mat time. You can't take away fight time. Those are things that are invaluable when it comes to fighting and competing. And I just have so much more time in on the mats, and it's just going to make me a lot more comfortable and a lot more calm in there.
You have had 8 first-round wins. Wow, that's a big number. How do you see this fight going down then?
I see this fight definitely ending in the first round. I don't take a long time to feel fighters out. I watch a lot of fights, and there's some people that they take their time. I get right in, and I get in your face, and I come to fight, and I fight hard, and it's going to end quick. Either I win or I lose, but I come hard, and it's just how it goes.
I want to read you a quote that I found on a video blog of yours because you also teach MMA. And I quote you, "I love to teach. I love to train. I love learning new things, but it is the ability to be involved in the journey people take in this sport, to watch and see people be successful, to know you somehow helped in their journey." Can you talk more about this then? Very inspiring.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, a huge part of what I do in my day-to-day as well as training and fighting is I coach and I teach, and I enjoy teaching people, and it's just a fun process. I mean, you see people come off the street, and they're almost like your kids almost in a sense. They can't walk, they can't crawl, but then you start seeing them evolve and putting things together and getting their feet about them and their wits about them, and then watching them essentially grow on the mats and getting better. And then when you see them go fight, you see them succeed, it's a joy that you can't get any other way other than coaching. I tell my fighters all the time, I am 10 times more nervous when they fight than when I fight. When they fight, I'm a nervous wreck. I'm shaking, my hands are, because I can't control what's in there. When I'm fighting, I can control what's happening because I'm in there. But when they're in there, it's stressful, but it's also fun.
That's cute. I didn't know that. I would never have thought that from you because you're an experienced fighter, but I can see what you mean because you're so nervous because they're like your extension of your family, your kids. You want them to do well. Speaking of kids, besides being a professional fighter and teaching MMA, you're also Mr. Mom. How do you juggle all this?
I wouldn't say it's not hard at all. It's just to me, I would say it's natural. It's easy. I mean, I get to hang out with my son all day. I get to hang out with my wife when she's off work. And then in my free time, I get to train. I get to work out. I mean, it's just, I don't have any complaints day in and day out.
You and your wife are also expecting a new baby. Congratulations. And we just spoke about your 2-year-old son, who is a boy. Would you ever want him to go into the MMA game, so to speak?
Yes, absolutely. If he wants to, I will be there to support him 100% and try any way I can to help him. If he doesn't, no big deal. I'll just, try to help put that drive towards whatever goals he wants in his life.
Now, you have a very unusual name. In fact, I had a hard time finding you on Twitter and on Skype. I had to call your manager to make sure I got the right name right. How did you get the name The Banana?
Well, it's a bit of a story, but back when I was an amateur, I was fighting, and the announcers always butchered my name. And my name's been butchered since I was a kid. Nobody can pronounce it, say it right. So a trainer of mine, a cornerman of mine at the time, told me to write down Banana because it helps rhyme with my last name. So I wrote down Banana, and when they announced me for the fight, they didn't say it. They just said, "Here comes Keith Smetana." Okay. And I fought, and I won that fight, but then after the fight, I asked the announcer, "Why didn't you say it?" And he said, "Well, I thought it was a joke." So I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. So the next event, I fought at the same place, and I made sure the announcer, I told him, said, "Hey, I want you to say this." And he was like, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yes." So he announced me Keith the Banana Smetana, and the crowd just erupted. They laughed, and I laughed. And I mean, you're talking, it wasn't a big venue, but say 500 people are just laughing hysterically as you're about to get into the cage fight. I mean, it totally broke the mood of intenseness. I mean, it was just crazy. So after that fight, I won, and I was walking back to the stage, and the crowd is just chanting and screaming Banana.
Wow.
And so it's funny to watch the change of a crowd in a fight. Mm-hmm. Even in the fights that I've lost, the crowd still screams at the top of their lungs, "Go Banana!" afterwards. So they go from laughing to appreciating it to yelling it out at the top of their lungs. So it makes it funny, and it makes it interesting.
It certainly is one of the more unusual fighter names I've come across, but I do like it. Before we go today, anything else you want to add, Keith?
Yes, I would like to thank some of my sponsors. I would like to thank Altercation Fight Gear, Propaganda Company Clothing, Stand for Something Clothing, Damage Control Mouth Guards. Actually just got a new one. I'd like to thank Hayabusa, so thank you very much, Hayabusa. And then I would like to thank some of the places and teams that have helped me get ready for this fight. So I'd like to thank my teammates at Jason Cable, BJJ. I would love to thank our young MMA team, Avengers MMA, for pushing me. Kryptonite MMA, and last but not least, I would like to thank Team Ronin out of Columbus for helping me get ready for this fight as well.
Keith Smetana, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, and I wish you good luck on your fight March 12th at Prestige FC2.
Thank you very much.